I suffer from complex PTSD. Um, I I'm working through this book, Complex PTSD: From Surviving to Thriving, by Pete Walker. And yeah, I'm in the surviving part of complex PTSD. I have been for my whole life. Um, and I I don't even know what to say. I start to space out um, when I talk about it. But I was abused a lot when I was growing up. Um, a lot of it was neglect, but there was also physical abuse, emotional abuse, enmeshment uh, with my mother. Father wasn't present. I have a list of ACEs, adverse childhood events. That is very long. There's like 50 of them. When I took a test, it had about 60 items, and I about 50 of them were true for me. Um, and yeah, surviving just with complex PTSD is very hard. Uh, it's hard to even come to the point where I accept that I have it, or yeah, accept that I have it, because there's a lot of misdiagnosing that went on for me for years, and a lot of taking advice for symptoms, and just trying to basically treat symptoms for a long time. Um, but yeah, so I do have a lot of different symptoms, but I'd like to just read some of the symptoms from the book just to give an idea of what complex PTSD is like. So it says, definition of complex PTSD. CPTSD is a more severe form of post-traumatic stress disorder. It is delineated from this better-known trauma syndrome by 5 of its most common and troublesome features: emotional flashbacks, toxic shame, self-abandonment, a vicious inner critic, and social anxiety. So, yeah, those are all true for me. And, geez, I keep stuttering and saying and ah, but it's because, like, my brain is, like, fighting just to think. But complex PTSD, it's really difficult to live with. I would say, like, the hardest part for me is the lack of being able to connect with another person easily. The social anxiety piece part is really hard. The the stigma is really hard around mental health issues. I would say it's probably getting better, actually, from when I was younger. Um, but it's still, there's still quite a lot of stigma. Um, and I would say that the connecting part for me is really hard because usually there's something happens where normally I don't share any of my story to anyone, barely even to therapists. They usually want to talk, they don't want to directly go into the story, which is kind of frustrating for me. Um, but what happens when I talk to people and even by proxy talk about mental health or something, it feels like one of the two of us will get triggered. Um, and then it's sort of like it takes a long time to talk about what they got triggered on, or what I I don't usually let myself get triggered, even if like consciously, maybe subconsciously I get triggered, but I mask it usually, which is, I know is not healthy, but that's sort of how I was raised, and part of the complex PTSD as well. So a lot of times I find myself just surviving through social situations. Actually, most of the time, and limiting myself on social situations a lot. Like, I don't work anymore. I'm off work for a few months now on disability. My psychiatrist was able to give me time off, and I don't do a lot socially because of fear of conflict a lot. And yeah, so I'm very limited socially. And so I get a lot of my socialization from like YouTube videos, or just that's like most of it, which is not that healthy. I get a little bit from going out and doing certain things, like church is probably the main one. I believe in Jesus, and church is probably the main socialization I get. But definitely, even at church, I'm still in the surviving kind of mode. And I guess just like recovery, I'm not too far into the book, but it said like recovery is a lifelong process. So I'm right now kind of accepting that it's a lifelong process. And I am trying to find the best way of recovery for me. And yeah, I think accepting that it's a lifelong process to recover is kind of a relief for me in a way. I mean, it's not something I would have chosen, let's say, but I didn't choose it. It's just like sort of like the hand I was dealt. So kind of accepting, okay, yeah, this is the hand I'm playing with, or this is what has happened to me, rather. So that I think is I want to say like more healthy or makes more sense. Um, and yeah, so um, just spacing out again. Like, I don't know what to say. I guess like because I really crave connection and like interaction with people, and even healthy conflict. Like, I don't think all conflict is unhealthy. I think actually it's like kind of necessary, but to do it in a healthy way is necessary too. Um, but because I crave those things, that's kind of like why I'm making this video, because I really I don't have like anyone really. Well, I have people. It's hard to say I don't have anyone. I have people, but I don't have trust very much. And that's really hard because talking to people and just not feeling like they can listen to what you're trying to say, or like be there while you try and say something, or like express your story about like what happened to you, is really hard. And yeah, I'm like not trying to like start crying even though I feel the urge, but uh yeah, I'm just saying that um complex PTSD plus isolation, or like self-isolating, or even like isolating your trust to not be hurt again, is really hard. um but yeah, I guess, yeah, it's just like really, it's slow, like, and surviving, like the surviving part, if complex PTSD, is just hard because like it feels like I'm just like broken or worthless, or like no one wants to be around me, like ugly, repulsive. um yeah, that's really hard. And it just it takes like it just takes like a long time, I think, like, and a lot of hard work um to like work through those kind of feelings, like allow myself to feel them, like, and trust other people, and like have faith um, that things will get better. I do have strong faith, which is something I do have, but um, trust in other people is kind of hard. So yeah, um, I guess like Yeah, what I'm mainly trying to say is like the surviving part of complex PTSD is really hard. It's really, really hard. So, yeah, I'm working through this book and I'm working through that, and it also feels like you're never doing things right for enough for other people. Like, it's how it feels a lot of the time. Like, everybody wants to. Here's the way I think about it. I think about it like, imagine it was like there's a race and you're like barely able to get past the starting line, and there's people that are like lapping past you, and they're kind of like running circles around you and asking you like, why are you not like, why are you not moving faster? And it's like your legs don't work or something, and like you're crawling by your fingers, you're pulling yourself by your hands. That's kind of how it feels, honestly. And people are just like, they don't see that your legs are not working or something, but like they're just running around you in circles saying like, why are you not moving faster? So yeah, that's how complex PTSD feels a lot. And like, you can't really tell them, like, it's like you don't know how to tell them like your legs are not working. Or if you do tell them, it's like they don't understand. It's like they don't see it. Yeah, that's how it kind of feels. So it's really, yeah, it's just hard. Super hard, super hard. But yeah, this video is long enough. I'll cut it there.